And welcome back to the Buckle Up Podcast universe with Brandon Rush
Mama Rush.
And yet again, we are continuing to do great numbers. We have 11 million viewers and listeners in 35 countries as of the other day. And about 3 days ago, I checked, and 369 cities around the world. So we are loving the fact that our show is a global hit. We like to always tell our guests that one of the best ways to get your episodes out amongst your people, since I don't know all of your friends or the people that you all know, is that you can download the episode on either podcast or Spotify, even though we are on 20 different stations, or you can send a link to them directly or put it on your Facebook as well, or your Instagram social media, which if you need any advice on how to do that, I can definitely let you know how to do that. But that has been almost here. So without further ado, we're going to let her into the Buckle Up Podcast. Hello there. Uh-oh, she was on for a second. Hello there, Attorney Alma. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Brandon Rush, and then my mom's on here. She's using her headshot today.
I see, and it's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Well, hello, Attorney Alma. Welcome to the Buckle Up Podcast universe today. We're so happy to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And
absolutely. We're thankful that we're great. We're glad to have you. Sorry, I can't talk. I'm loving the green. I was going to compliment on your green. I like the glasses match the shirt or the jacket shirt.
Thank you. Because the other guys would have work meetings and I make my glasses match my top. They never notice. I have to bring it up. I'm like, did you notice this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they didn't get with the program.
Love it.
Well, look, today is all about you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come on our show. We're excited to have you on here. If you don't know this, we have 11 million viewers and listeners in 35 countries. And as a couple of days ago, it's 369 cities around the world, but I didn't check it the last couple of days. So, but we're happy for them to learn all about Attorney Alma. So this is, I am pronouncing that correct?
Alma's correct. Yes.
Okay. Would you want me to call you Attorney Alma each time, or for my mom's sake, or do you want her?
No. Yeah. Well, you know what? My niece Tiffany would probably tell you to call me Alma Jean, but don't do that. That's
you
my
said Alma G.
That's my
okay.
Real
I'm gonna go with
name.
Alma G then. I like nicknames.
Okay, so you're gonna call her Alma G, Brandon.
Yeah,
Alma G. It's Alma G with a G.
No.
J, isn't it?
No. So it's Alma Jean. That's my real name.
Oh, Alma Jean.
Yeah, Jean.
Okay, all right. Okay,
yeah,
Alma Jean.
Yeah.
All right. We'll test them all out throughout the episode.
And test them out, whatever works. But you don't need to call me attorney. That's what my mother would want you to do. But no, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
For sure. You can say Alma or Alma Jean. I'll let you say Alma Jean, but I stopped my other friends in public calling me Alma Jean from across the room. Excuse me, it's Alma.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, Attorney Alma Jean.
AJ. Oh, you're gonna do it all.
AJ, I like AJ.
Oh yeah, AJ works too. I like that.
AJ. Yeah, I have friends that call me AJ too.
I like AJ.
Damn, that's it, Mom. Way to go.
Okay. Okay.
So this is all about you today. First off, will you tell us would you mind first starting with what you do, and then we're gonna get into your story of like where you grew up, your whole entire journey. Because one of the things we try to do here also is help the next generation. So kids that are trying to figure out what they want to do, with that being going into college or going into the workforce. So we're going to touch on all of that stuff.
Oh, sounds so good. First of all, let me just again thank you so much for having me on. Tiffany insisted. She goes, I want you to tell your story too. So, okay.
I love Tiffany.
I did
we
watch
just love her.
Yes, and I did watch hers, and I thought, oh my God, what a wonderful, warm mother and son duo. You guys just made me feel so comfortable, and I was so glad she got very comfortable and shared everything. So
absolutely, she's been great. We've been happy to have her, and all the guests that she has brought to us have been phenomenal too. So we're glad to have you on here too.
That's good. Well, Tiffany's mom is my oldest sister.
Okay.
Yeah. That's right. So her mom is that's how I'm her aunt.
Okay, yeah. I was like, it
Yeah.
took me a second. I'm struggling.
Yeah. Then I come from a family of 8 kids.
Wow.
So my grandfather was a sharecropper
Mm.
in Tennessee, in Mississippi, actually more Mississippi. And when Tiffany's mom was born, my mother decided, after when she was 2, she decided she had to get off of the sharecropper farm. She couldn't take it
Oh.
anymore. She
Okay.
could not deal with all the animals. She did have her own horse though, but still,
Mm.
she says she's got married to get off of the farm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, my grandmother at the time, who was like, she ran everything. Nobody went against her. And so my mom, she wouldn't let my mom take Tiffany's mom.
Really?
So it was just really, it's like, it was back then, that's how they rolled. It's like,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
gotta run off. No, can't go, can't take the baby. We'll take care of the baby.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So my mom got married and she and my father did not stay together.
Mm.
And so when I was about 12, basically I was like her right arm, I
Mhm.
was the oldest. And so then what happened was this organization called A Better Chance. ABC Incorporated is the name of it. They're still around. The founder started it in New York, and he had this vision that you could go to any inner city and look at the kids that are in the National Honor Society and all of that, and those kids can make it in these posh private prep schools just as well. And that was his theory. He wanted to get more minorities and kids from low income backgrounds into getting this prep school education.
Mhm.
So they came to Memphis and they came to my junior high school,
Okay.
which was the largest junior high school in Memphis, over 3,000 kids in 2 buildings. I still have claustrophobia from learning we have to teach us how to
Oh,
change glasses to go to classes
oh,
because
yes,
it's so
3,000
packed.
students. Oh,
Yeah, that's
But
a
I
lot.
Yeah, but I was in the honor society there, and I was one of the kids that the counselors suggested could apply, and my mom let me apply. They did a whole application with took a picture of me and did a whole background and everything. And what they did, they had these relationships with these New England prep schools, mostly New England.
mhm.
And they would send these applications to them and back us and say, these kids can do it. They can make it in this area, this environment as well.
Hmm.
So I got three schools chose me, uh,
Mm.
full ride scholarship. And I was like, I think I was 14. I was 14 at the time.
Mm.
Okay.
And I'm embarrassed to admit that as I was looking at the brochures of the
Mm.
schools, I chose St. Paul School in Concord, New Hampshire,
Mhm.
because it was all boys in the brochure. It was just like like, oh, okay. Because my mother had to like first of all, she had to be convinced to let me go because I was her
Yeah.
right arm. We
Yeah.
lived in the projects in Memphis, and my father had left, so I was certainly a large part of her support system. But
Mhm.
the people that she worked for, she was domestic worker. She also worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, eventually made supervisor.
Okay.
So uh, the lady that she worked for had a daughter who was always, you know, was interested in us, and she said, "You need to give her this opportunity. Do this." And my mother did. She said to me before I left, "Okay, I'm gonna let you go, but you have to agree to be a doctor or a lawyer
Oh,
in order
wow.
to go."
Oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was like, ah. So hey, you can do you could go, but here's the dynamic involved. And I
Hmm.
was like, okay, whatever. I'm getting out. I decided I would go. It took her a while to convince me to go because I wanted to go across the street to Booker T. Washington High School and
Oh.
try out to be a majorette. That was my dream back then. Between making good grades and
Yeah.
being a majorette. My only challenge was my legs weren't big enough, so I would have to like work really hard. But everybody wanted to be a majorette. That was big time. You were like a star.
Yes,
At any
ma'am.
rate, that's what I wanted. But I decided, okay, I'll go. What they did was to give these students an idea of what prep school would be like.
Mhm.
I left and for 3 weeks was on the college campus of Carleton College in Northville, Minnesota, about 70 miles from Minneapolis. And we stayed there. I'm 14 now. And
And
so
from
I'm thinking,
Tennessee to
whoa,
I'm sorry, let me so you went from
I went
Tennessee to
from Memphis. Yes, I flew from Memphis to Minneapolis
Okay.
on my own at 14 and spent 3 weeks on a college campus with other ABC scholars
Mhm.
getting and their whole goal was to give us an idea of what prep school life would be like.
Okay.
And so they had the college campus. Um, Carleton College in Northville, Minnesota. Northville, Minnesota was beautiful. It was during the summer. So it was like,
Okay.
wow, I'm like, oh, it's really beautiful. And I loved it because I was like, I didn't have to share and fight. I have five brothers. I didn't have to share, fight, and hurry up and eat real fast in order to get a second second
Helping.
helping because
Y-
my brothers ate up everything all the time. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't any food. They would make sugar sandwiches, cabbage mustard sandwiches. They were like, my mother couldn't keep milk at any rate. So I love that. Like I could eat as much as I wanted, and I did that because I always had to struggle to get
Yeah.
some of that food, and I made a lot of good friends. And so I said, "Oh, if prep school is like this, that'd be great," because they had college students that were volunteering during
Okay.
that 3 weeks to be, escorts and to help us understand like college life, and they had professors that volunteered to teach us classes to give us an
Okay.
idea. So it was really a good experience. So I said, okay, prep school. So I went back home, got ready to go to Concord, New Hampshire, um, and flew there and land. I had to land in Boston because at the time they didn't have an airport in Concord, New Hampshire. So I landed in Boston and immediately I became at 14. I was very concerned about my Southern accent. I was like all the way from Boston to Concord. I was thinking, oh, because they kind of teased me in Northville, Minnesota too, because these kids are from all over.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, so when we drove into the bus station, so bus station for Trailways bus. It was like in a shopping plaza parking lot, right? It was like this little shack, right? And so the bus driver pulled down the mic and said, "Welcome to Kicking Hampshire." And I said, "What the heck did he say?"
Yeah.
And the lady next to me said, "Oh, he said, welcome to Concord, New Hampshire." I went, "Oh, these people
Boston
sound worse than
accent.
me.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
good.
Yeah,
I'm
and for
good."
real.
So it was like God was listening. He's like, he really cared about this 14-year-old's, concern because I was very overwhelmed by it.
Yes, ma'am.
So moving from Memphis to this cloistered world up in the hills and the sticks in Concord, New Hampshire. Now the campus was gorgeous, beautiful. Actually, it looked like a UCLA campus, just a
Okay.
smaller version.
Beautiful campus, UCLA's.
Yes,
Beautiful.
and beautiful, just gorgeous. Um, but the various challenges were many. Regional, I'm from the South. I remember when as I got older, later on, I remember still flying in the bus to New York to spend the Thanksgiving in my 11th grade with a friend instead of going all the way home. And I remember looking down from the plane going, we're going down there, all that concrete, that's where we're going. I mean, it was like a huge, to me at Fort, I'd never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Row houses. I'm like, these are apartments. What are you guys calling these houses? So, I mean, I really had a lot of adjustments to make, but mostly, so I'm from the South. I go to New England. Not only is it a culture shock, it was the first year. That's why the brochure was all boys. It was the first year they accepted girls.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so there were so the school was a little over 550. There
mhm.
were 67 girls to 550,
Oh,
500 some odd boys,
you
Yeah.
right?
had your
Wow.
pick of the litter.
See, you jumped to that, Mama Rush. You jumped to that. So
Yeah.
there were 7 black girls and 30 black guys.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
okay.
Yeah, 7 black girls, 30 black
Oh,
guys.
wow.
So yeah, yeah, we were darlings.
Uh-huh.
The guys were like, whoa, and it was like it was a huge thing for them. Um, it was first of all, I wouldn't be the person that I am today had I not been through that
Really?
experience.
Mhm.
It was very tough in a lot of ways, but wonderful in others. So, I'm from the projects. I don't, my father's not there. My mother's, struggling with all her 7 kids. I had no money. And so it's a full scholarship. But, when I needed certain things, so they didn't have enough money, they had this guy in this office off of the camp near close to the campus, but like kind of like in this basement area that he had to go and make an appointment with him and ask for money.
Okay.
And that
Mm.
was very it was embarrassing, and it was very difficult. And all
Mhm.
the kids
Mhm.
that had to do that, we felt embarrassed, and it was just demeaning.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
did not enjoy that at all. They didn't have any African American studies courses. I had read more Black books when I was in Memphis because those
Mhm.
Black teachers there in the inner city were hell bent on us understanding who we are and where we came from. And so
Yes.
I read Malcolm X and, The Bluest Eye, all of that stuff before I got to St. Paul's. And we actually, when I say we, the Black kids, the Hispanic kids, and a couple of Asians,
Mhm.
we all got together and called ourselves we had like third world coalition is what we called ourselves,
Okay.
and we lobbied and got African American and other studies
Oh,
the
nice.
Oh.
second year they were there, and so they actually paid attention. So I definitely give them credit for that. I
Mhm.
lived in the dorm near the chapel. St. Paul's is an Episcopalian school, so we had to be at
Mhm.
chapel at 8 a.m. in the morning
Mhm.
Mm.
before classes. And I live right near the chapel, and the bell rings on the hour every hour, so it woke us up anyway. So the first year we had to do that, and then they decided it was wrong to make kids who were Jewish or who were not Catholic, who weren't Christian, to go to the chapel services. So they suspended that. So thank God,
Okay.
everybody was happy about that. For the last 2 years, we didn't have to get up and go.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
ma'am.
Um, the thing about St. Paul's that I appreciated more later was that it is one of the premier New England prep schools. I went to school with Michael Kennedy, who was Robert Kennedy's son, one
Okay.
of his 11 kids, and he
Mhm.
was a trip. He used to sneak in the dorm. Uh, and I remember one night at 2 in the morning, I went into the bathroom and he was in there smoking weed. And I was like, Michael Kennedy, what are you doing in here? He goes, oh, I'm not going to bother you. Go and use the bathroom. I'm like, no, you got to go. He was a trip. He
Yeah.
would we had like a little uh, coffee snack shop that we could go to after classes.
Mhm.
And he was there one day and asked me for money to buy him a hamburger. I'm like, are you insane, Michael Kennedy? Are you asking me for money?
Seriously, let me borrow some.
Exactly. His sister, Caroline Kennedy,
Mhm.
and her mother came in my second year.
Oh.
Caroline was trying to decide whether she would go to St. Paul's or Concord Academy, which is not far away.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and she chose Concord Academy because they had horseback riding.
Okay.
I just I just remembered the day that she and Jackie O came. I was
Mhm.
standing in line behind them
Uh-huh.
at the lunch, going to lunch and standing and waiting to go in line and get lunch, get my tray and all that. And I was behind them. And I remember looking and seeing Jackie O and going, oh, she looks nothing like those pictures. She was like very frail looking, and it's like had a big head, her body was, I mean, I was 14, so I was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah. Uh-huh.
pretty critical at 14, okay?
Mhm. Yes.
Um, so I think one of the, great experiences was that one of my roommates one year was a Japanese girl named uh, Aida Karu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Karu, and when her parents came, she taught me to say, "Hi, my name is Alma. Nice to meet you."
Oh,
And
nice.
Mm-hmm.
I remember after lacrosse class running up there with seeing her parents coming down the hill with her and going,
Say it.
"Ohio, Matasio moi Alma."
Huh?
So they looked at me like, "Ooh, this little black girl speaking Japanese."
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and so I one of the other things that I experienced was that there were only two black teachers,
Mm-hmm.
one male and one female,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, you couldn't have all your classes with them, but it wasn't enough African American teachers. But the school tried. They actually paid for us to go to events at other schools where there might be African American events. And
Mm-hmm.
so they did that. I remember once an African dance troupe came to Concord, New Hampshire, and they took us to that event. It was in the evening time and let us go there. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember this African troupe actually had women who were didn't have anything on the top. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Mm-hmm.
dancing braless. And I
It-
remember these old white men were sitting up in the front, like who were sleeping and kind of woke up. But yeah, it was authentic. I'm like, whoa. So I remember that experience struck me. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then once Vernon Jordan visited the
Oh.
school, and my roommate and I were chosen to escort him around while he was there because we had a speaker series, and so they would invite people like that because
Uh-huh.
just a lot of rich people who knew other people politically. So I guess
Mm-hmm.
one of his colleagues' kid went there, and so
Mm-hmm.
he was invited. And there
Excuse
were
me,
others.
Attorney Alma. One question. I actually don't know who the Burning guy you just mentioned is.
Oh,
Virgo.
Vernon
He's a
Jordan.
is
Sorry, Vernon Jordan. He passed in
mhm.
the 1960s. Yeah, that's why you probably don't know.
Okay.
He
And it's
became
the yeah, great. Excuse me.
he
The audience won't know. Some audience members
Yeah,
won't know.
that's
I'm sorry.
okay.
You're killing two birds with one
I'm
stone.
glad you asked her the
I'm
question,
glad
but
you
I do
asked.
know, but I'm glad
Okay.
AJ is going to tell the audience now.
Yes,
Okay.
Vernon Jordan uh he was the lead of the Urban League, basically at the start. He
Okay.
he was, and because of his prowess, he was a lawyer. He graduated from Harvard.
Oh wow.
He
Oh, yeah.
was very well known. He actually advised presidents and was extremely revered it just overall by the
Okay.
entire
Mhm.
political structure. So he was one of the political activists who had um, a voice and a presence
Mhm.
that was a little different from Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Obviously,
Okay.
he was much more he didn't get into that kind of politics.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
was
Mhm.
able to like infiltrate the establishment
Okay.
and was he was sought after by the presidents
Wait, is
about
he the
his
guy in
ideas.
sorry, Attorney Alma. Is he the
No,
guy in
that's okay.
do you watch Godfather of Harlem? Is he that guy?
I didn't watch Godfather of Harlem, but I bet it was.
Okay.
Rush, do you know?
Uh, uh, I I don't think he was the Godfather of Harlem. I don't
Oh no,
think
he's not the
so.
No,
Godfather
no,
of
no.
Harlem.
Is he in it? I thought he was that character that's always talking to I wonder if he's that
Oh, he
character
was a turn. Oh, he was within the movie.
yes, man. There's a
Attorney
series
talking.
called Godfather of Harlem with Bumpy Johnson and all those guys. But there's a
Right,
guy who is played
right.
by the guy from Breaking Bad. He's half black, half Italian, who plays this person that's always working with all of the he's always working with political figures. I wonder if that's him. I'll look it up.
It might have been Vernon Jordan. After this podcast, I'm gonna look it up and confirm for you,
Yeah,
Okay,
let you
thank
yeah.
know.
you.
Check that
Yeah. Yeah, but
because
he
there
was
were.
a big shot.
Yes,
Big,
ma'am.
big shot. And
Mhm.
we took him around campus, and we had the school had a special little cottage where they would allow their guests to spend the night.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
so it had a piano in it. And when my roommate and I went to get him, we came in, he goes, I'm sitting here at the piano. I've always wanted to play. Do you guys mind if I just try and play? He knew how to play.
Okay.
So he could play. I'll never forget that.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it was the other thing about it was I think one of the first, you know how when Brandon, when you and Mama Rush, you go
Mhm.
to school and there are some teachers that really resonate with you and
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you
That's
remember, you know,
uh-huh.
that were there for you.
Yeah.
So so I had been accused of stealing money
Oh,
Ooh.
in
wow.
the dorm. And I was
Mm.
like, what the heck? Well, the
Mm.
reason why is one of my colleagues knew that I had been given a lacrosse stick. I played lacrosse, but I had been
Oh,
given a new
wow.
one by a
Uh-huh.
friend who had stolen it, right? But I was using it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I was connected to that. And the teacher for the dorm that I was in called me and said, Alma, do you know about the money's been taken from? I'm like, no, I don't know about that. She goes,
Yeah.
well, you probably going to need to get somebody to back you because you're being accused. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, here, I'm 15 then. And I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
like, it was terrifying. I was,
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
can
I
only
was in tears.
imagine.
Yes. And I went, so at that time I had a teacher, Reverend Ingersoll. He left years later. He became the headmaster of a boys' school and
Mhm.
he's retired now in his
Mhm.
80s. But I used to babysit for his kids.
Mhm.
And so he was the only one I could think of. So I went to he had a home, they had homes for the teachers on campus, beautiful homes.
Okay.
So I went
Mhm.
to his home and I said, asked if I could talk to him. I said, well, this girl stole, I was trying to make it third person.
Yeah, which it
But
was.
at the end, I was in tears. He said, and that girl didn't take that money, right? I'm like, no, that girl didn't. And he went that moment. He said,
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
you go back to your room
Uh-huh.
and you're fine. Do whatever you got to do. If you're going to go to bed or whatever, everything's going to be fine.
Yes, ma'am.
I happened to be on the same floor with the woman who's a headmaster in our dorm. So I heard when he came. She had her apartment not across the hall from where my room was, and I heard
Mhm.
him come in. I couldn't hear, he closed the door and I didn't hear all the conversation. But I remember when he came out, I heard him say, and there's no doubt in my mind, so you need to drop this and it all is well, because it was not her. And I will never, and she did. She's like, because he was a big wig there. He was one of
Yes, ma'am.
the,
He was a black professor
no, he
or
was
white?
Jewish.
Jewish.
He was
Okay.
Jew.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And he believed me, supported me, and backed me. And I
Mhm.
never forgot that. I never
Yes,
forgot
ma'am.
Isn't
that.
that most interesting?
Yes. And it was
Mm.
like, but it was, you know, it was kind of interesting. These kids, we were from all different parts of the country,
Yes,
you
Mhm.
ma'am.
know, from New York, Philadelphia, and the South. Um, I don't recall anybody from the West Coast then, but of course that eventually happened. But it was more people in the like Southern Midwest and
Mhm.
New England area. So I had a lot of friends from Philadelphia, New York, and
Okay.
Mhm.
Boston, and those areas. So it was interesting because I grew up in the projects in Memphis, and I had really been exposed to folks from the Caribbean, which we call
Mhm.
West Indies. And so
Mhm.
my roommate my senior year was she was born in Philadelphia, but all of her family was from Jamaica.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we were roommates, and her perspective was like, hey, where's the power? I'm gonna run for class president, and I'm gonna do this. And our
Mhm.
perspective was, oh, this big BS over there, what they're doing. We can
Mhm.
politically get what we want, not adhering to this structure. So we were like, you're radicals, rebels.
Rebels
But
without a cause.
she was like, I'm gonna do this. So she became I think she didn't get to be president, she was VP.
Mhm.
um and it was, I just didn't understand that perspective. It's like we all need to be together, and you're going to stand over here and decide to do to go with the white people.
Mhm.
So that's how I was thinking then,
Uh-huh.
and so since then in my journey, I have seen kind of some of these differences between Haitians, Jamaicans, Dominicans, the
Mm-hmm.
perspective is different because they weren't really raised here, the ones that weren't raised here, and then the ones who also were influenced by their
Culture.
parents who
Yes.
were from these other countries. They had a different bent.
Yes.
So um, she later wrote a book about our experience at St. Paul School.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, this
it's
is
called
interesting.
Black Ice.
Oh, Black
I'm,
Ice.
I'm in the book because I was the first student and I was there 3 years. She was only at 2 years. And
Mm-hmm.
so when she came in and interviewed and kind of got a campus tour, they
Mm-hmm.
accidentally ran into me
Mm-hmm.
coming from the dorm. She was going up with her student guide and her parents.
Mm-hmm.
And the student said, "Oh," they stopped me and said, "Hey, this is Alma, blah, blah, blah. She's been here. She's from Memphis." And she asked me, "Well, how do you like it?" I said, "It's all right." And it went on down, the hill. And so she said I was the only person that she felt was genuine, that had been
Oh,
honest when she was
Oh.
so she wrote the book, put me in the book. It is a memoir.
Mm-hmm.
It's biographical. It was the only experience of Black female adolescence in that setting. It was the
Mm-hmm.
first one.
really?
There
Wow.
have been some since,
Yes,
but
Well,
it
ma'am.
was well written. And so it was so well written, it was being taught at USC
Oh, wow.
here in
mhm.
Los Angeles. And Touchstone Pictures, which is owned by Disney, reached out to her and wanted to do a movie.
Really?
Oh,
So
wow.
yes,
Mhm.
so they interviewed me. They interviewed a couple other her friends that were in it and her, and bought
Mhm.
the rights to do the movie,
Oh my
but
gosh,
never
Wow.
amazing.
did
There-
it. Just like
Okay.
put it on the shelf. And
One,
at that time, Halle Berry was big time. I thought, shoot, can Halle Berry play me? That's what.
one
So
question I want to ask, several questions, but before, because I
sure,
want you to continue on the train. But you said she came to school with her parents. Did she have money? Because knowing that her parents went and you flew by yourself on a plane to the school. Tell me about,
yes,
did she have, her parents had money?
yes, she
Okay.
had. They had money. They
Okay.
did.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So
So
let's
she was
continue with,
not an ABC scholar.
oh,
And
okay.
there were three other, actually there were a lot, actually there were like a good number of us that were ABC scholars, that folks that came out of the inner city and
Uh-huh.
and were funded by ABC.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
ABC
Continue.
was.
I just
Mhm.
wanted to say that because I listened to when you said for her parents, and then I thought about you flying by yourself
Yes,
and trying to make
yes,
it there. And was that your first flight
that
or
was my
that
first
summer?
flight.
Oh,
That's
Okay,
sorry.
the
okay,
first
all right.
flight was
Minnesota, right?
to
Minnesota.
Minnesota, so it was
Yes,
my second flight.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll make sure I was
second
right.
yeah. Wow.
flight. You were right. You were
Yeah,
right.
that is great. So continue with the story because there are certain little things I want to ask questions as we move forward. But I'm just so fascinated with you right now. And
Oh,
I'm in here in my scientific notebook. I have that black and white notebook making notes so I won't forget something I need to ask along this way. Okay, go ahead.
so no worries. So my last year was pretty good in that we used to have this parents weekend for
Mhm.
graduation. So they
Mhm.
would invite the parents for graduation, and that whole weekend we would put on events for them. And my last year we had one of the students was very creative, and so they got him to act, produce shows for the parents. And so
Oh, wow.
he got us together, and they gave us money, and we bought costumes and stuff. And he did like
Mhm.
several dance routines that we he choreographed and we practiced. Uh, one was to um, Isaac Hayes's
Oh,
Shaft.
Okay.
I met him. Then I met
Yeah,
him.
yeah. So
Okay, I
we
met.
got all these
I said,
white
hey.
people in the audience in our theater going, "Whoa!" So we did that, and then
Oh.
we did. I cannot remember the who was the singer for this song. It was more of
Mhm,
a freedom song, African American song, which
mhm,
highlighted, how the master was doing this and slavery. It was
mhm,
very,
mhm.
very dramatic. And we got one of our white friends who actually wound up here in California too with me, who has 3 kids too.
Okay.
Um, she was very close friends with my roommate, and we became friends. And we got
That is so.
her to appear in the dance routine with a
Mhm.
whip, because there was a part of the song where you're whipping the
Uh-huh.
slaves. she she was good with that whip because she was a dancer. She went to McGill University later and
Uh-huh.
got into dance, and then later on she was a professor out here at USC.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I remember that because it was like they gave us money just to do different things, and we sang during the lunch period. It
Mhm.
was so they get it as much as my wings, quote unquote, might have been clipped, or our wings in
Yes,
that
ma'am.
cloistered environment. It also helped us to soar too. I mean, they acknowledged that, we were valuable. We brought value and we mattered.
Exactly,
Yes, ma'am.
exactly, and which
Yeah.
was a great thing. I think sometimes I think about the forced integration that they had here in the South, in South Carolina, and I wanted to. I said, well, here goes the soul black major, like you said, being a majorette. I didn't want to be a majorette, but I loved the music. You know that beat of those drums.
Of course.
Well,
Of
I knew
course.
when I started hearing da 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 da. I said, "Whoa!" I missed that so much, Alma.
I
So
love
I know.
that. That's
I
the
said it's
clarion
changed.
call.
I said, "Yes, yes." I said, "Oh, it has changed." And so, but the integration part, which was great, you got a chance to know that you're smart. You're smart. You knew you were
Yes.
smart anyway. And you being so smart as you are, we can tell a star mentality that you have. And with that said, you got a chance to know, okay. And I remember this white guy in a class when I made the highest score in the class. And he said, well, I didn't know that y'all were that smart. And I said, I didn't
Oh,
realize that you were
yeah.
that dumb. And I just said that to him.
Good.
I said, you. I didn't say the whole white race. I just said you were that dumb. I said, I didn't realize you were that dumb. And so I think what it did is it opened the eyes of different
Yes,
races to be able to
absolutely.
accept and understand when you have been fed so much garbage in your head and fed so much misunderstood. So I think that was great about that particular thing. But go right
Yes,
ahead and
yes.
talk. I just have to interject certain things because
That was
I know when you fly to that school, being that prep school. Now tell me with the prep kids, the ones that had the money, how did they treat you? Did they isolate you all or how was
Yeah,
that
they
feeling?
did. I mean, I remember I was pretty good at sports, and because there was a lot of remember I told you they shamed us having to ask for money,
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of demeaning.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're in this school with all these, kids whose parents were millionaires,
Oh, yes.
billionaires. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember the company that made Corning
Yes, Cornyware.
bakeware?
Mm-hmm.
The founder, all of his generation went there, and they were one of
Oh,
the
okay.
along with the Kennedys, and there were a few other. I can't remember some of the families that were old school. I do remember this. Do you
Mhm.
remember the Kentucky Derby when Seattle Slew won
Yes.
the Kentucky Derby? Well, we were all in the common room in the dorm because the owner of Seattle Slew's son was in school with us.
What?
And so we all watched while his dad's horse
Wow.
won the Kentucky Derby.
Oh my
We're
Holy
like,
God.
smoke.
yes. It was just like just money, okay?
Yeah.
Money, folks.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and and so it was difficult. I remember because it was the first year they accepted girls. They were trying to do everything for the girls too. And so in our
Mm-hmm.
dorm, they put sewing machines in the basement, ironing
Oh.
boards and all that. And so like
Mm-hmm.
there was an ironing board down there. I remember I was going to a party on campus, and I went down there and I was ironing, and this girl white girl came down. She goes, "Oh, Alma, you know how to iron?" And I looked at her like, "Are you a fool? I've been ironing since I was, 5." I'm like, and so she goes, "Oh, can you iron something for me?" And she was gonna run up the stairs. I'm like, "No, you better learn how to iron."
Girl.
I was
Quick.
like, she just assumed. Then
Yes.
I had another friend, a Jewish friend, and
Mm-hmm.
we keep in touch from time to time today. She kind of hung out with the black kids,
Mm-hmm.
and so one day I came into the common room of the dorm. I was coming in, and she was sitting in a chair, in one of those tall boy chairs. I could see her
Mm-hmm.
head, back of her head, but she was crying uncontrollably. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I went, "Daphne, what is wrong with you?" And she
Mm-hmm.
was reading Black Boy. And she said, they treated him so bad. I mean, she was just
Oh,
overwhelmed with, you know,
oh, that's sad.
pain and connected. So there were like, yeah, there were white kids like that, but there were other kids
Yeah.
like every time I washed my hair,
Mm-hmm.
came out. It looked like because I wore a fro. It was still
Yes.
December, so I had a
Mm-hmm.
fro. But when I
Mm-hmm.
washed it the next day, it's like this, it's not
Uh-huh. Yes,
big.
of course.
And
Yes.
so the the white people were like, "Oh, you cut your hair. Why'd you cut your hair?" I'm like, it's not cut. It's not cut. It's not cut. Just
Yeah.
I tell you this every time. And then the next day or whatever it comes out, I was like,
Yeah. That's always such a great experience to know what they learned about us and what we learned about them, and that's always a wonderful. That's what I think. What sharing, whether you have money or don't have money, sharing those different cultures, rich, white, whatever, wherever you are. Where you are in the
yes,
economic system, where you are in that system, sharing that, then maybe some way, somewhere it'll become a part of your mind that this world is made up of people from every walk of life,
every walk of
and
life.
that does make a difference in your thinking if you exposed and really know what people are
Yes.
about, and that exposure makes a big difference. Did you have
And
to
makes
wear
a big difference.
uniforms? Did you have to wear uniforms?
We had to wear uniforms that first year,
Uh-huh.
and then they decided, okay, you guys can stop wearing uniforms. I get when the girls came, I mean, I think that the parents of the girls, they probably had a lot more influence, and so we didn't have to wear uniforms that second year, and we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to go to 8 o'clock chapel that second
Okay.
year. So
Okay.
that was a turnover. So that was um one of the reasons. Remember, my mom said, if you go, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Lawyer. Yes, ma'am.
And I
Mm-hmm.
just thought, so I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, I don't like touching people I don't know. So doctors out, doctors out. So I got to be a
Uh-huh.
lawyer. So luckily,
Uh-huh.
in my civics class, we did a field trip one day to um, the capital of New Hampshire, which wasn't very far from Concord, and
Uh-huh.
that's where the Supreme Court, the appellate court for New Hampshire was, and they were having a hearing. So we got to go in and sit and watch. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember though they had this like old fashioned huge dais where the judges
Mm-hmm.
were way up high and they were in
Oh
these black
yeah.
robes,
Mm-hmm.
and the lawyers were, they had 3 or 4 tables and they were behind it, and they had their hands behind their back and
Mm-hmm.
bowing and all that. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, could do this. And I
Mm-hmm.
could like advocate for people that can't advocate for themselves. So that's when I made the decision.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
I can do this, and I don't have to like be killed by my mother. So,
Yes,
Uh-huh.
ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
so I did that, and I chose to go to Boston University,
Oh,
Okay.
and
beautiful school.
Ziggy, stop. Sorry, it was because I had to fly into Boston every time to go to New Hampshire, and I loved it. I loved the city. It was so vibrant. Then I had friends that went there. My
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend went there.
Uh-huh.
Uh, my mother didn't want to hear that part, but yeah, it was. And luckily, when I first got there, I was like, oh, okay, because of prep school, really, I just didn't have to do anything. And really, I mean, it was just
Oh, wow.
like I would do 5 papers in one night,
Oh
that was
wow.
due the next day from books because I could do that. And then
Uh-huh.
the challenge that first year, I was like, okay. So prep school, it made a difference. It really
Yes,
made
ma'am.
a
Oh,
difference.
wow.
Yes, it did. And so what I decided to do was major in macroeconomics because I
Ooh.
thought,
Oh.
hey, if I major in something really, really, really hard, they'll let me into
Mhm.
law school, right?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
then, Boston is a big university, so there were night classes and there were professors coming from,
Mhm.
teachers coming from all walks of life. So they had an attorney teaching criminal law in the School of Legal Liberal Arts. And so I decided,
Mhm.
let me take that night class. And I took that class. And
Uh-huh.
the teacher was this white guy. He was really good. And we had, robust discussions during the session. He took a liking to me. And
Mhm.
after one class, he said, "Oh, so Alma, what is your major?" And when
Yeah.
I told him macroeconomics, he goes, yeah, you like that?" I'm like, "No, I'm really struggling." He goes, "So why are you doing it?" And I said, uh, "Come on, come on, you can say hi. This is
Oh,
this is my 4-year-old
Hey,
granddaughter."
how's it
you're
going?
so beautiful, 4-year-old.
How
What
are
is
you
your
doing, my
name?
dear?
Good.
Tell me your name. What's your name?
CJ.
Oh,
CJ, nice to meet you,
CJ.
CJ. I'm
CJ,
Brandon.
so go, excuse me, Brandon. Introduce yourself because she can't see me.
Oh, hey, CJ, I'm Brandon. And then I have my mom on here too using her photo.
Hey, CJ. Let me see for a minute. CJ, I am so happy to meet you on the Buckle Up Podcast universe. I have a grandson, and he has his own little spot on the Buckle Up
He
Podcast.
does.
So we'd love
Okay.
for you to talk to him on the Buckle Up Podcast one day. All right.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Oh,
sounds
by the way,
good. Nice
you're
meeting you.
so
Close
beautiful.
the door for me, please. Close the door.
Yes.
Thank you.
He is
Thank
so
you for that.
beautiful. Oh, of course, because we have my grandson comes on. He has his own little show.
He does.
And he talks to Brandon has the kid version of the Buckle Up Podcast universe. And so Mason is his name. And he talks. And so he has a dog. And we have for the
Blitz.
dog for animals, we have Animal Buckle Up Podcast universe part of that.
Oh,
So animals come on and all. So anyway, your daughter
I
is
have to bring my
absolutely
puppy on too.
Okay, nice.
Oh, great.
He likes to come in and sit next to me. Oh,
You
Okay.
calm
can
down, girl. So
one thing we
What kind
try
of
to
puppy is that?
do.
Is that what kind of puppy is he?
Pick. It's a female or male.
it's a female,
Okay.
Hey,
and
and
she
what's
is a
her
lot.
name?
They say she's a Lhasa Apso.
A
So
Lhasa
it's kind
Okay.
of
Apso.
like,
Okay.
yeah, but she gets mistaken for what is that dog?
Is it a Maltese?
Yeah, kind of like a Maltese. She
Okay.
gets mistaken, and she's the best dog I've ever had. And I have a lot of dogs.
Okay,
And
She
what's
nice.
her
doesn't
name?
bark. She doesn't
What?
bark unless she's fighting with CJ.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, for attention. Okay, I got it. I got it. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
great. I'm glad we had that little interruption, not interruption, but break because we saw your daughter, got a chance to meet her, got a chance to meet your lovely dog. And what is her name?
Your dog's name as well?
The dog's name is Bandit because she has.
Bandit. Oh,
Okay.
Do you remember?
yes,
Mama
I
Rush,
do
do you remember Johnny Quest?
Johnny Quest. Oh, Johnny.
Johnny Quest.
Yeah, love Johnny Quest. Right, you
Yeah.
remember Johnny Quest?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, all right.
Randy, you remember Johnny Quest? Be
Yeah,
for
because
real.
honestly, when I was during the summertime until the weekend, mom was always watching Johnny Quest.
I love Johnny
Love
Quest.
Quest.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was a bandit there.
Okay.
But to finish up, the attorney said, "Look, let me tell you something. Law schools are looking for people from all walks of life.
Really?
Uh-huh.
You need to major in what you love while you're here. So figure out
Mhm.
what you love, and that'll be your major." And he set me free because I went to the School of Communications.
Mhm.
Boston University was in the top 5 at that time, and I majored in
Mhm.
communications and journalism.
Okay.
Mhm.
And yes, and so, but the blizzard of 1978. Were you born by then, Rush?
No, ma'am, not
Brandon
at all.
Rush?
Yes, Brandon wasn't born, but I
Not at
got
all.
married that year. So I realized how cold it was because I was living in Delaware.
There you
So
go. Just teasing you, Brandon. That's all.
It's all
So
good.
anyway, I remember walking over the bridge of the Charles River, across from
Yeah,
Cambridge,
yeah.
where Harvard is,
Mm.
and that wind whipped me crazy, and I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
getting out of here.
Yeah.
Let's go. So I applied to all these West Coast schools, also Midwest too. I thought, Chicago, which it probably was cold too. But when I got
Mhm.
accepted at UCLA, I said I threw all the other letters away. I don't even know if you accepted me or not. I'm getting out of here.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Yes.
so I did go to law school at UCLA,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
beautiful campus.
Yeah.
And what I found out, I'm in LA because LA it has the best of what I liked about the South and the North and the Midwest. There's wide
Mhm.
spaces. UCLA's campus is just gorgeous.
Mhm.
And it's wide. There are houses here, not row
Mhm.
houses. Like
Yeah.
I explained this, and grass, and and everything grows here. Everything
Mhm.
grows here.
Mhm.
So, and when I say that, I mean, actually, I don't know if you heard about it, Brandon, when you come to California, but
I've lived in Westwood for 10 years.
oh, well, I don't need to tell you,
And I
but did
worked
you
out at
go?
UCLA for 10 years, and I volunteered for the
Yeah,
Basketball World
yeah.
Chair League at the Wooden Center for 10
Oh,
years.
well, then but did you go over to, where is it that?
Malibu or somewhere else?
Not Malibu, maybe the other direction, where Oprah lives up in,
Oh, I have no idea where Oprah lives. I've been all over
oh,
LA because I work a huge portion of my work is out in LA.
yeah, well, she lives more towards Ojai, that area, Bakersfield, going towards,
Oh, I haven't
there's
been up that high. I've never
yeah,
actually gone up that
yeah.
high.
Any rate, and it's beautiful up there too.
Okay.
But on the way up there, they grow everything in California: garlic, strawberries, peanuts, and everything grows here. Did you
Yes,
know they
ma'am.
also grow cotton?
I did
I
not know
didn't know
that
they
at
grow
all.
cotton. I did not
That was
know
not
that.
on
We
my
drove by a
2025 bingo
cotton
card.
field, and I said, "What the heck?"
Did not know that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah.
Yes, when I was, I think I was 13. My mother said, all y'all need to work. You don't have a job, you're going to the field. Okay. And a yellow bus would drive up at 5:30 in the morning. Me and my siblings got on that bus, went across the bridge to Arkansas, and was chopping cotton.
Holy
I
shit.
Oh.
lasted 1 week. I got a job with the youth center
Yeah.
on Memphis State University campus, and I was like happy.
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
remember those
Yes.
long rows of cotton, chopping
Mm.
cotton. Yeah.
I
So
never had that experience being from the South, but we would drive. My daddy would take us on Sunday drives. After
uh-huh.
church, we would have dinner, and then he would take us on rides during the summer, and
Yes.
he would show us the different cotton fields and everything. And I said, whoa,
Yes.
people pick. And one day he stopped the car so we could go out and pick the cotton because we were so curious. And he said, yeah, go
Yes.
out there. So he stopped on the highway. And I felt
That
it.
was
And I
a
said,
good
oh, your
experience.
hands get stuck with that stuff. I said, whoa, daddy, this is hard. And he said, well, he never had to, I don't think my daddy had to pick cotton, but my mother did. And I
Yeah.
just thought about the
Yeah.
times that she was growing up and all that she had to do to survive because her daddy died when she was 7 years of age. So,
Oh, I
and how
see.
you remind me so much of her, how your plight of trying to get that education and be the best and the
Yes.
best that you can be and be a star. Because
Yes.
her mother didn't have the money to really
Right.
help her do all these things. So she would
Uh-huh.
work. She would pick cotton and she would work at night. She worked right after school and would
Yeah.
go and teach these little white boys their lessons, help them get their work done and clean this white lady's
Wow.
house while
That's right.
while
That's
the
what my
white
mother
lady
did.
went to play bridge and my mother would clean. And then later would come back so late at night my mom would have to walk through the woods at night and get home, and then she would study by the oil lamp, and she would use that to study. And she was so
Wow.
smart. As I hear you, and that's why I'm thinking about you and looking at you and hearing your story so much, it touches my heart today because
Oh,
I'm thinking about my mother. So we want to go back to this school, going to law school
Law
at
school at UCLA.
UCLA. Okay. So I just have
Yes.
to, I throw in little things that so you'll know
No
why I
worries.
stopped you along life's way, along this journey. Okay, go
No
ahead.
worries.
Uh-huh.
No worries.
Okay.
So yes, law school was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh, I can't wait to get out of here.
Oh, really?
It was really tough.
But you're
Really
genius
tough.
level though, because I know UCLA
Mm-hmm.
is a hard school to get
Well,
into.
thank
He's a
you for
genius.
that. But law school is a whole different ball game. They like
Mm-hmm.
said they have to teach you how to think like a lawyer. And
Okay.
ever
Mm-hmm.
since I got out of law school, I've been trying to get rid of that.
Yes.
To like
Right.
not think like because it's really kind of crazy. To think like a lawyer, you have to be on both sides of the issue all the time. Most
Okay.
people
Mm-hmm.
we in normal, we're like, huh? It's like you pick a
Mm-hmm.
side and you understand where you come from. You can maybe
Absolutely.
understand the other side, but you have to like have arguments for both sides. It kind of like
Mm-hmm.
flips your common sense. So I was
Absolutely.
just trying to get my common sense back most of the time. But you mentioned your mom.
Mm-hmm.
I one of my goals was, and I guess my mother had that goal in mind too, for me to be
Mm-hmm.
successful. I was
Mm-hmm.
so gratified to be able to purchase a home for my mother in
Oh.
Memphis and to take her to different places,
Oh.
And when I bought when I bought a home here uh, in Los Angeles, compared to the home she had in Memphis, she would come and go, Alma Jane, how much money did you pay for this old ass house? Excuse my French. That's
Oh.
what
Yeah, oh
she
yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous in California. It's Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous.
Yes, the house that she eventually wound up, we got has like a library and a foyer, a big
Oh,
living
wow.
room, several bedrooms in a
Look,
cul-de-sac with
look
beautiful
how
trees. It's huge, and my
it's a
house
beautiful.
comparatively, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
maybe not more than 400, if it's that much, maybe 200,000
Wow.
compared to my house, which is just skyrocketed. It's like
Yeah.
it would be a $200,000 house in Memphis, but
And
Yeah.
not and I'm just gonna say it myself. It'd be around close to 700,000 to a million in LA. I'm saying that. You don't have to say what it is, but I
it
know it
is.
because
I was trying not to say it, but yes,
Yeah.
it's
there's a meme
crazy.
going on right now about that with LA. What a $1 million house costs in LA, and it literally it's like it's not even a shack, but it's not the same.
It's no
But
way.
But
No
how
way.
long? Well, I tell you, first of all, that's a blessing. Your mother invested in her kids. I tell you,
Yes, she did.
her love for you, and what you did in return. I often say people invest in stocks and that kind of thing. And my parents always invested in their kids, and they got a great return on investing in their children. We never
Yes.
put them in a home or anything. We brought in
Oh, great.
caregivers. Their last days,
Yes.
we brought in
Yes.
caregivers to take care of them
Yes.
in their home. But I want to ask you,
Yes.
how long did law school take for you, and what was your specialty, or what did you specialize in law school?
Oh, yeah. Glad you asked. So 3 years of law school and
Mm-hmm.
then taking the California bar. And uh, the pass rate when I took the bar was only 13%. That's how terrible
What?
it is. The California and the New York bar
Mm-hmm.
are the toughest bars in the nation. And I got on my knees when I heard the lady say, "Oh yeah, you're on the successful provider list." Because I called in. I
Uh-huh.
called in. I said, "Oh, is Alma Howard on the list?" And the lady said,
Yes.
"Hold on a second." And she started looking. She goes, "Yes, she is." And I howled. She goes, "You're Alma Howard?" Yeah, thank
Yeah.
goodness. 'Cause I had to
Well,
call. I
look
didn't
at
wanna go
that,
look
the
at that
first
list.
time.
Yes,
Wow,
Yes.
wow.
ma'am.
I bet your hand was
So
shaking for her to go down that list. I bet your hand
yes,
was shaking.
yes, and I called my mom and she howled.
Oh,
She said, "I knew it. I had a dream. I knew you were gonna you were
oh,
gonna pass."
wow.
So it
Th-
was a lot. It was just a really good thing that happened. And
Yes, ma'am.
so eventually I worked in a couple of medium-sized firms when I got out of law school, and I had gotten married, and so I wanted to uh be able to like do 9 to 5 versus
Mhm.
being in the law firm doing all those billable hours. It's crazy.
Mhm.
So I got an opportunity to oh, drop my water. I got an opportunity to apply for an in-house position with a healthcare company.
Mhm.
It was called United Healthcare here in Los Angeles,
Uh-huh.
and I interviewed and I got the job.
Uh-huh.
But when I got there, virtually all of the other attorneys except for one had left because the company had filed bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, whoa. And then the CEO, so this is a Black company owned by the
Mhm.
Watts Health Foundation.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so it was Black owned. And the CEO, who was also a minister, came in and he did everything to encourage me to stay. And eventually I became the general counsel, the vice president general counsel, because the other
Oh.
attorney left, and I
Mhm.
built a law department there. And then unfortunately, about 15 years later, I was there 15 years,
Mhm.
they went into receivership because healthcare is really tough. But
Yes.
the pinnacle of my career there was that United Healthcare, which is the number one, the largest healthcare HMO in the nation,
Oh, okay.
they decided, oh, it's time to go into California finally. So they came into
Mhm.
California, they did a media blitz, and our switchboards lit up because we had the name United Health Plan. And
Okay.
so
Uh-huh.
so my CEO came in the next day and went, hey, how come you guys didn't tell me we had a commercial? My wife is mad at me that she didn't know. I'm like, Dr.
Mhm.
Odin, that's not us, you
Yeah.
know. And so the CEO of United Healthcare, this white guy, called him later in the day and said, oh, you might get some calls, but don't worry. People will not confuse us with you for long. And that just made him mad. It's like,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, it's like putting us down because this is a Black company that
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
represented mostly Medicaid, right? We had
Uh-huh.
Medicaid. So he came and told me his lip was sticking out. I said, look, let me call our outside counsel, see what we can find out. So
Mhm.
we got a Chicago firm. The attorney was like one of the best. In fact, he was in Texas in a meeting when I first called, and he came in a hearing. And when that hearing was on break, he called me back, and so he
Mhm.
flew to LA, and we went about like, what the heck, you can we talk about this? We got the same name. Y'all didn't say nothing to us.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I'm speaking colloquially, you know, not
Yeah, I
how
understand.
he
Yeah.
actually said it, but and
Mhm.
the guy was just really dismissive, still
Mhm.
dismissive because we're this small Black company. And
Mhm.
so, and he called him when my CEO and I were in the room, and the guy, and he asked him, he said, you know, you're supposed to get these numbers together. What's happening? He goes, you know what? We're talking apples and watermelons here. Really? Do we really have to do this?
Oh,
And
Mm.
our CEO heard that. He was like, oh,
Oh, this
no.
too much.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so we went into court 24 hours later,
Mhm.
filed for an injunction, and stopped them from
Oh.
advertising. And
Oh.
let me tell you, it made the Wall Street Journal. It was this little blurb. It was like
Yeah.
David and Goliath. David and
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Goliath.
Oh, I
That's what they
like
called
that.
it. And I remember the attorney for the United Healthcare went up to the judge, and when it was time for him to speak, he said, Your Honor, I understand you're concerned about, you know, Medicare, Medicaid, and all these people and all that, but could we continue to advertise in the more sophisticated publications? And
Wow.
the judge
Mm.
actually, he Teresian, now he wasn't Jewish, but you know, I think it was
Mhm.
Persian. He stood up and he leaned over because he was in a high dais too. The
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
federal course was big. He said, "No, counsel, because you know what? Sophisticated people get confused too." Actually, we wound up selling that name to them for millions. We
I'm
did.
about to
So
say
it
Oh,
that's
was just
a
wow.
pretty powerful thing to sell.
Oh, wow. That is
so
so
yes,
uh-huh.
but it was like, just think, this white company, and he, you know, yeah, they're a premier company in the nation, look down on us like they ain't gonna do nothing. They
Yeah.
ain't worth it. That's not, you know. So
Well, I guess
I
they
remember
learned
that.
to enjoy watermelon.
Yeah. Seriously. Seeds and all.
Whip a little salt on it.
Yeah. Maybe some lime and some tapatio since we're in California.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I now work for Blue Cross.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in-house counsel with them. I've been there 18 years.
Oh, great.
Great job. I'm one of the first Black attorneys they hired. We have about two others, but and
Yeah.
it's been a good career.
Yeah.
It
Well,
has.
one quick question I want to
Yes.
ask. How do you explain corporate health law in simple terms
In
for
simple terms,
everyday
so
man?
right. So corporate means, you know, you're representing a corporation. So
Mm-hmm.
and you know corporation law. Um, and healthcare, it is expansive across all the various areas. Like HMOs like
Mhm.
Blue Cross and the hospitals, and then the physicians and medical groups. Have you heard?
Mhm.
Have you guys heard of Kaiser? Because I don't think Kaiser.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am. I know
yeah,
Kaiser.
I'm very familiar with Kaiser.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So Kaiser was one of the first HMOs to have with like the staff model, and they're
Mhm.
lawyers, they're in-house lawyers that work
Okay.
and that work there. We're actually employees of the company,
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
what we do is we represent them and with when there are lawsuits or
Mhm.
regulatory challenges, because there are licenses involved, but all of the areas of the law that have to do with what corporations should and should not do.
Okay.
Oh.
I have to, with other lawyers, we have to advise the company on what they should and should not do and what they can do. And it is healthcare is so expansive and so detailed and complicated.
It
There's
really
just
is.
like, and I'm in an area that's very specialized. So there are very few attorneys that really specialize in like I have the government side of corporate
Oh,
healthcare.
okay.
So I'm in Medicare, Medicaid, children's insurance, and all those kind of areas. So
I have
Oh,
a
okay.
question for you.
yes,
How do you
yes.
separate? Because I can see that at least you seem like a good person.
I'm Tiffany Scott. Of course, I'm a good person.
yes, ma'am. But the reason I say this is because the question I'm going to ask.
Okay.
Because and then protect yourself too. Don't I don't want you to get in trouble or anything like that. How do
Yes.
you obviously human? I'm a person that's for the people. I really am. I look at the human side of fact of everything. Working for a company that uses insurance and stuff like that, clearly that you have cases where there's people dying. On one end, someone's going to die if you don't approve this or you don't approve that. That's the kind of thing that you're dealing with, is it not? Sorry, I
Yes,
hope
we
I didn't
have
just throw a bus your
lawsuits.
way or
We do
maybe a
have
train.
lawsuits.
What's that?
Yeah, we do have lawsuits
So for
where
you
there's
itself,
been issues.
yes, ma'am. Okay, how do you separate your work from the personal side of it? I guess too.
So I'm fortunate because the part that I work in has to do with Medicaid and Medicare mostly.
Mm.
And so what I do is advise the clients on how they can improve the services that are rendered to Medi-Cal in California,
Okay.
Medicaid members based on what the law will allow them to do.
Okay, good.
So what happens is now, particularly California, they've
Mhm.
always, wherever California goes, the rest of the nation goes.
Oh, really?
And
I
so
didn't know
what's
that.
Okay.
happening? Yeah. So what's happening now is the HMO funds rent supplements. They help people get into apartments and then help them pay. They help them deal with substance abuse.
Mhm.
Right now we're hiring people who actually have on the ground experience, that have felonies, have been substance abusers, or have got involved in different issues, and we call them community
Oh.
workers because
Uh-huh.
we go to the streets and to go where they are, where the homeless are, the unhoused, and folks that are abusing drugs, with people who've been there and done that, to
Yes,
try
ma'am.
to pull them out. So there's another side. There's
Okay.
another side.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I hear you,
Mhm.
given, the reputation of these healthcare companies. I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
they've fallen below cables and cell phones, like in
Mhm.
terms of popularity. We at the bottom of the barrel, so far down that
Uh-huh.
unfortunately the United Healthcare CEO was murdered.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
that was sad.
So I'm near my retirement, Brandon. I'm going to tell that
Oh,
to you,
you don't look
and I
Okay.
look forward to
Congratulations. Yes, ma'am.
when that time comes. But one of the things that kind of struck me is that from the beginning, I think, and this is my theory, the choice
Mhm.
of placing healthcare of humans
Mhm.
in the legal structure and environment of insurance
Mhm.
was a mistake.
Mhm.
The way insurance works, it's like you pay, it's like auto insurance,
Mhm.
life insurance. You pay me a certain amount of money,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and here's what I'm going to do for you. And
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is all I'm going to do for you
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
based on
Yeah.
the money that you give me. And it's like that doesn't like naturally, kind of dovetail
Yes,
with
ma'am.
Mhm.
healthcare. So that's just my theory.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I feel fortunate that I'm in the part of the industry where we are focused on really doing that.
Yes, ma'am.
In the structure that we have of trying to improve the healthcare of the folks that have this insurance.
So you are a good person. I knew it.
Yeah, she's excellent. Because Brandon, I was leading towards and when listening to AJ and you talk about that, and the listeners out there. My question is, how can companies build a culture that prioritizes both legal compliance and ethical responsibility? So how is that done? How can you, that's where I was listening to Brandon. I said, well, this is how I'm going to word mine.
So I will tell you that the company has an entire division called ethics and compliance. And when there is something that doesn't smell right, or something has happened, that department jumps into action. They figure out, okay, so what coulda, shoulda, woulda happened here? And how do we, as a responsible company, deal with it? What's our part in it? And so I like that. And most of all, I think all of the major HMO, United Healthcare, HealthNet, Centene, all the Humana, I think most of all those major companies do have ethics departments. And we do look at it. And we get sued just like everybody else. The way our structure is a little different from Kaiser. Kaiser is what we call staff model. So they own all their medical groups and their hospitals and all that. They're all everything's Kaiser. With us, we contract with providers like hospitals and universities and individual practitioners and psychiatrists and all. So our network is not, we don't own it. We contract with them. We ask them to do certain things. And when they don't do them, then, there's a contract issue.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
Because they're our agent, we're responsible too.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how it happens. I get a call from my best friend from UCLA. When she was in med school, I was in law school. We were roommates, and every time her rates go up with her insurance company, she calls and complains with me. I'm not even in that area. I do Medicaid. 6 a.m. I'm getting a call. You evil art. You guys are. So I mean, the healthcare is huge. It's a big deal. For the entire nation, and we will see where California goes. California is looking at doing something different. We'll see how that pans out. But I'm near retirement, so I'll be on the other side of the
work
issue.
really hard. Yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask, what has been the most memorable case, a situation you've handled in your career?
Besides the watermelon people.
Besides the watermelon people.
You're not gonna forget that one, Brandon.
No, man.
So,
and if you can think of a case that was.
Yeah. So, I think what we have run into is a situation where they're not really paying attention to the cultural differences. You've already heard the bigger cases like Serena Williams when she was trying to tell them, look, I know what's happening here, help me. And the doctor's like, just like, what you're talking about, you're fine. And she almost died because she was right.
Exactly.
So they kind of like, so we have so I don't know if you know about it, but there's this huge health equity focus. Now we've actually hired a president of health equity for our company, and the whole distinction between African Americans, Asians, whites, but particularly African American, because that is a real focus. I don't know if you know, Brandon, but the highest level of hypertension, the group is in Los Angeles County, Black people.
Really?
The highest hypertension rate. And they're studying that, but
it's probably because of how much things cost in California, Los Angeles.
Well, it could be. Well, first of all, we're Black. Okay, let's start there.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yes,
true.
But I have theories. I mean, they're studying it, but LA is the second largest city in the nation
Yes,
behind
ma'am.
New York. So all the issues related to our environment and those things. So they're studying it. Same thing with, the high incidence of breast cancer. But I think in my career, I have had to challenge a lot of that cultural thing. Like a vice president, white person would send me something that's written, and I'll go, no, you cannot say this because this would offend Black people because of this, that, and the other. And so I've had to take some stands that kind of I thought might jeopardize my position, but I still here, still made it.
Amen.
But I would get responses like, well, that other person's Black and they didn't have a problem with it. I'm like, well, you know what? All Black people don't think alike. We're not a
That's
monolith.
for sure.
Okay?
That's right.
We're not a monolith. And also that person probably took a different tack because of her position.
Yes, ma'am.
But
so
you mentioned, I'm sorry, finish up that. I wanted to say something about that, but go ahead, finish up.
No. That, I mean, really, you ask about the challenges. I think that has been sort of the major challenge I've had. And just being Black also in an environment where initially you're the only Black attorney. And, you might say something and then it's not really heard, and then later on somebody else says something and all of a sudden that's a good idea. I'm like, well, I just said that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
so go ahead, Mama Rush, with your
it's the delivery of women, Black women dying at in childbirth, having children. And I remember when I was giving my first child, my older child, and I was feeling faint on the table, and I just thought I was going to die. And I said to my husband, I said, listen, I just feel like, and the doctors were looking at what's wrong I said, I feel like I'm checking out of here. I'm going to die. And I had a female gynecologist, OBGYN, and she came in the room and she started yelling at everybody. She said, wait a minute, this girl is about to check out. And sure enough, because I had that female, and I mean, it's different with females, it's different with Black women, and she recognized. She recognized what was happening. And so she took charge, but she was running late from another case. And so she had to run in and see me and deliver the baby. And I'm so glad she walked in the room.
Oh, wow. That's
to make it, because and to this day, my son has a scar because they had to rush and do a C-section. My older son has a scar under his eye where the male doctor that made the incision.
Not me, but I'm the younger one, but he's cut, like he has a cut like right there.
Cut right
and
there.
They tried to say he cut himself in the wound with his nails. And I said, wait a minute. My sister, who's a physician, walked in and said, no, that's a scalpel cut. I'll never forget it. And I think the Lord, I was so happy they didn't cut his, put his eye out.
Exactly.
And so it's amazing how they need to take in these with medicine. I always say you have to take seriously what the doctor is doing, what the patient needs are. And especially, I'm so glad there is now a society that's really looking at all of this.
Yes. Health equity.
And so, and that I'm so glad you spoke on that part of it too today. What else? Outside of work, how do you relax and recharge? I'm going to get from the serious subject now. I'm going to bring it around. Unless you want to say something more about this serious stuff, because it's a lot when it comes to legal, health care, and all of the rest of that. We could be here a whole week talking about it. But let's bring it outside of work now. Let's start talking about how do you relax and recharge.
Okay, so let us see. I went and saw her. I saw Bruno Mars. I'm going to a female jazz concert in Palm Springs.
Wow.
I'm going for my birthday next year. My girlfriend and I, the one from UCLA, even though we argue a lot, we do travel a lot together. We're going to do a South American tour, starting in Brazil and Buenos Aires and Peru and all that. That's what I'm doing next year in March. I went to Cuba last year. And that was a life-changing trip. I've been to Egypt, which was for 2 weeks. That was I can't begin to tell you. Mama Rush, we'd have to have a whole nother show about that Egyptian trip. That was
I understand.
unbelievable. It
Mm-hmm.
was just unbelievable. So I travel, and I'm from the South, so I know blues from inside of me. It's
Yes, ma'am.
osmosis. I know blues, and I was shocked when I got here, Mama Rush. There were people that didn't know that Aretha Franklin was born and raised in Memphis. She only went to Detroit because her daddy got offered a big job. He actually was the pastor of my church in the projects, Fowler Homes. And the story goes that he told the leadership that he would stay if they bought him a Cadillac. And they did buy him a Cadillac, but he left anyway to Detroit. Yeah, my friend's like, oh yeah, but she came the hell out of Memphis, didn't she?
Yeah, and she really
They
did.
tease me. The people I'm like, well, Tina Turner was only 90 miles away in Nutbush. I mean, really, it's like
But you are so well rounded. I can see you are well rounded, and I love that you figured it out. You figured it out, and you have family and all. But I wanted to bring one piece together when you spoke earlier about your mom, and she said lawyer, doctor. If you had a choice at that time, what would you have chosen to study or be? And then if you're outside, if it's a two-part question, if you weren't practicing law, what career do you think you'd be doing today? So I'm bringing from the time you were a kid to now. Let's bring it together.
Yes. Well, so I probably would have went into entertainment law. One of my best friends.
Brandon, she could have been your lawyer.
I know. Well,
hopefully I'll never need one.
One of my best friends is a top Black female lawyer here in LA, and she represents everybody. You may have heard her name because she might have been in Godfather, whatever.
Oh,
Godfather. Talk about her. Nina Shaw is her name, and she represents a lot of folks. I would have probably done that because before I went in-house at Watts Health Foundation, United Healthcare, I did interview at Disney, and I was really young. And the guy goes, look, we don't like to train. So we like you to go other places, law firm and all that, and get that experience and come back. So of course I never did because I fell into that career, which I was shocked by. Like Medicaid regulations don't actually, you can read those and go right to sleep right away. So, but it was a good career. I probably would have done entertainment, or I would have been a manager of singing, because I really got into music when I was in Memphis. I had, friends. I had a boyfriend who was a bass player, and the blues in Memphis, and maybe you've been to Bill Street before. There's nowhere in the world that you can go and walk any place on Bill Street you walk in. It's the best blues music in the world. Really? It's the best. The best. So
wow.
And so you can sing.
I can't sing. Other people can sing.
Okay. But I thought you said, so you would be
I would be a manager of groups.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand.
Groups like the Gap Band and Earth, Wind and Fire. And I would have, because I just, when I was in Boston, I saw everybody. You name them, I saw them.
Yes,
and so I was really into music. So that's an area of career that I might have chosen, because I love music. No, I can't sing. I can dance a little bit, but I can't.
Oh, wow. That's great to bring all that, because I was thinking about your mom and you growing up with a family. I come from a large family too, 6 children in our family, 5 girls and 1 boy. When you mentioned Isaac Hayes, I had a sister who played backup for him. She played piano, and she let us. Isaac Hayes came to South Carolina at one point when I was in high school or when I was in middle school, and my sister Benzina, she said, Carolyn, do y'all want to meet? We went to his show. And she said, you want to meet Isaac Hayes? And I said, yeah, sure. Because we had front row seats and all. So she was playing backup for him and everything. And so we went behind the scenes, and he came up and said, hello. He had those chains. Boy, I was yelling and going crazy like a fan. because he had these chains on. And I tell you, it was the most amazing thing to meet
Yes,
him. And
I can
yeah, I tell you,
imagine.
and yeah, so I know music. She loved music and different genres of
Nice.
music and all, but it's amazing. But you have been, in talking
Quite
with
the way.
you, you've been so smart your whole life. You figured
Thank
out you weren't
you.
going to pick a thing of cotton, not one thing of cotton. Bump
I
it.
wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
And then to take your journey to the fact that you went at 14 years of age and the maturity level that you had. Did your mother ever get a chance to fly out to St. Paul's to
Yes,
see you
she did. She
graduate?
flew for my graduation.
Oh,
She was so proud and happy,
mm-hmm.
and she did things like get the silverware, and the cafeteria had St. Paul's and embedded in it. So she took her set of silverware and
Well, yes, yes, the prayers that she put up for her daughter to get
yes,
through that
she
program.
did.
And it's nice that you still have friends from high school to this day. And then
Yes.
college, Boston University, oh, one of the elite schools top in the country, for you to get in there and then pass
And
the bar
UCLA.
the first chance you got. The first chance you got, you passed that bar when there are so many students out there like, whoa, if we can only get through that bar the first time. I know one other
It's
guy
tough.
passed the bar the first time. But
Yeah.
this little guy was so smart. He's been smart from the child. I knew the child. He sang the pledge. He said the Pledge of Allegiance to the whole plane when I was working for a professional company, and he sang. They said, "Let's have this little boy say," and that's when children could go up in the cockpit with the pilot. And he
Oh,
said,
nice.
well, he was a genius from a little baby. And I know must have been with you the same thing. You were
Yeah,
probably
I
completely.
don't know
doing
about
things and
genius.
your mother would look at this kid and say, oh, wait a minute, she is different. I'm gonna make sure. Now tell me, the rest of your siblings, are they still alive? Are they as
So
smart as you are?
so oh, I wish my brothers could hear me say, no, they ain't smart as me. But at any rate, uh I had 5 brothers. One of my brothers passed,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
He was very young at 54. And,
Uh-huh.
we have hypertension, heart disease,
Mm.
particularly for the men in our family, and he just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't taking care of himself.
Oh
So
yeah.
we lost him, but I have 4 left. And
Mm-hmm.
as my mother bragged one time when I took her to a meeting here in Los Angeles, about, getting kids involved. And
Mm-hmm.
I had been invited by one of the psychologists that worked at the junior high school, Audubon Junior High School. And we were in
Mm-hmm.
this room, and my mother said, well, all of my 5 sons have degrees.
Oh, hey,
I was like,
amen.
And
I
you
was so like, okay, mother.
and that she was right to say that. I have it's 5 sisters. Well, I have 4 sisters and 1 brother. And my oldest sister, the one I told you, we met Isaac Hayes, and she played backup for Elton. I mean, actually, she backed up Elton John as well. But she died. But I can tell you right now, she was the genius of us all. She was the
Oh,
smartest of us all. I think she made almost 1,600 on the SAT the first
ooh,
time. I'm telling. She was just a
nice.
genius. She was an absolute genius. But any rate, one thing I want to mention to you, you said a better chance still exists.
Yes, ABC Scholars. Yeah, a better chance. It's called ABC Inc.
Uh-huh.
And so it's been so many years. I was in the first probably few batches of kids, and
Uh-huh.
the focus was inner city kids, kids that were poor, come from
Yes.
families with no
Mm-hmm.
money. Now they've grown so much because it's so competitive to
Yes.
get in these schools that they included, like my girlfriend, they included families that were upper middle income Black families
Mm-hmm.
who wanted to get their kids in. So it includes all of that. It's a much, my understanding is a bit lower percentage of the inner city kids now that
Mm-hmm.
are in the program, because it was all about, let's get Black people in places where we can progress. And
Yeah.
so they focused on kids whose parents probably afford some of the
Mm-hmm.
money in these
Mm-hmm.
boarding schools. And
Yes.
so, yeah, so I
Well,
was in that first the first batch of kids who that was his focus. The
Okay.
founder of ABC, and that wasn't his background, but he went to school with a friend who was from that, and that's where he got that desire to be helpful. In fact, one of the guys that I met later on, who also
Mhm.
went to prep school with a student like myself, who was an
Mhm.
ABC student,
Mhm.
he put together a movie
Oh.
called Prep. And
Uh-huh.
I went to a screening of it, and I was like, wow, how did he know? He just got it right on point. And I got
Mhm.
in line after the movie to meet the executive producer. And as I got
Mhm.
up there, I'm like, who is this long-haired white boy? What?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it was this, he was Jewish, and his best
Mhm.
friend was black, and he learned
Yes, ma'am.
about that struggle. So
Wow.
Well,
it was really
mm,
very it was a great experience. I don't know. I don't think he ever sold it. I think he's still trying to sell it. He probably will one day. I hope we're around.
mhm.
We're around
Well,
when he
Yes,
gets
ma'am.
it
I'm so
sold.
glad you mentioned that because not to cut you off there, but I'm so
No,
glad
you're good.
so glad you mentioned that because in South Carolina, going to Columbia High School when it was downtown, when they had the forced integration, and we had about 10 black students. I happened to be one. My mother was a French teacher there, black French
Oh
teacher at
wow.
this all white school. But the bottom line, they didn't expose us or tell us about different opportunities like that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I'm glad
Yes.
this Brandon, did you ever hear about
No,
in
I've never heard
Virginia?
about.
Because my kids were born in Virginia.
Yes, ma'am.
And so did you hear anything from the
No,
counselors?
ma'am, I didn't. I had a counselor at my school tell me I can get into college. Go figure.
And Brandon got into the
Ah,
University of South Carolina.
Yeah, but we're not going to get down that
wonderful.
road.
Brandon,
But
but the
basically,
thing
I never heard
is,
about that. Attorney Alma, this is the first time I've ever heard about that ABC program. One of the things
Sure.
we love with this is the fact that
this,
people like you, and even I said this earlier, there's so many people that we've had come on mention things like a LECOM program where if kids want to go to medical school, they can take this LECOM program. I appreciate you mentioning the ABC program because people like you have been so kind to come on here and mention different ways kids can go to college because one of the reasons
mhm,
behind the show is my nephew didn't know if he'd be able to afford college. And so when I
mhm.
started this, I was trying to figure out different ways of having different people on. So that's
Nice.
kind of what she's talking about with now
Got
he
it.
knows here's an option here.
Yeah,
There's an
so
option.
great opportunities for kids out there. And we have such a young followers, and they are something. In fact, we had a little high school guy on, that's football player, on the other day. And AJ, you would be, I tell you, I was so surprised at how many downloads he got
He has the most.
from the most
Wow.
downloads in 2 days because he was on there talking about football and just a nice,
Oh,
prayerful young man. And
Yes, ma'am.
so I am so glad that you have come on.
thank you.
Young girls out there, minorities. Well, we really are in the majority. People of color are really in the majority, but uh, all right, so let's just say that. But with that said, that people will get the option, young people will get the opportunity to see people like you and
Absolutely.
Thank you.
know that they have possibilities to go to school, be
That's
smart.
right.
You don't have to be doing just anything you don't want to do. Drive to be the best that you can be in this life. And I thank you
Yes.
so much. Anything you want
Oh,
to ask?
thank you.
Oh, Brandon is a journalism major. He didn't get a chance to mention that.
It's all good,
He's a
Alma.
journalism major. His daddy died of
Nice.
pancreatic cancer, but he was a journalism major as well. So y'all
Nice.
are in the same school of thought,
We're
pretty
same
much.
school of thought.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes.
Well, Alma,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you've been absolutely wonderful. I'm glad you came on here today, and I thank you for your time. I'm going to say one thing that Mom forgot when she was telling her one story was the fact that all of them went to college too and got their degrees in her family. The only one that didn't was
Nice.
her sister Benzina, who left college, even though she got in early. She left college early. Mom forgot to mention that one part, but
Yeah.
don't worry, I got it. The
Yes.
second part I
Yes.
want to say is this: I'm glad you two came. I'm glad. First off, I'm glad you're on here. I have some friends that are black. That sometimes say things that are disheartening to me and frustrate me. And I stick up for our people. They're good. They're my friends. I love them. But they try to
Yes.
say things like, "Oh, we as black people don't have anything to be proud of." And for them,
Oh my God.
Ah,
exactly. Exactly.
Well,
And
tell him that when he gets to a stop sign,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
a stoplight, a refrigerator. Don't get me started.
Yeah,
No,
don't get me down that line,
like-
Brandon, and
I
please
agree,
don't.
but the reason I wanted to say that, Alma, here it is that I said I didn't know what the heck he was talking about, and or even had to check one of his friends too was of a different race, because I'm like,
Right.
here it is. You guys are trying to categorize. First off, there's ignorant people in every single single race and
That's
ethnicity,
right.
That's
and
right.
they're all ignorant kinds. So don't try and group everybody else in this section. And he's like, well, you know, I see your family, and they're like, I said, everybody I have met has been like me, or has worked hard, even if they came from hard backgrounds. They've worked the fight for whatever it is. But don't you categorize us all as being ignorant or being less than.
Right.
And here it is. You guys are examples. I see my family, seen plenty of people.
No idea. Did you know that there are more Black female book clubs than any in this nation? Okay,
No.
I'm in two.
Yes.
I'm in two. So
I love books.
okay, now how many of them are in Black, are in book clubs? But that's a whole different show.
Yes, ma'am. I don't want to hold you to that.
Long show at
of
another
what Black
time,
people
because listen,
can
I'm
do.
up here. I
And
got
Black
riled
people
up
will
when
save
Brandon.
this country. Okay.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
will.
I'm with you. I just wanted to say thank you for all that you have done. For you to go at 14 years old, you were making adult decisions, and you are a success of what makes. First off, me, I'm proud. You've inspired me. If you were able to do that against all odds by yourself in a time that was way different than now, then
It was scary.
Yeah, I know it was, but you still did it, and that made you the person you are. If you can do it, then someone that looks like you or looks like me or doesn't even look like can do it too.
Do it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
ma'am. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here today. I know we've held you for a while.
Having me.
And thank you for having star mentality.
Yes, ma'am.
Star mentality.
I love you, Mama Rush. You all right.
She's great.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well,
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Next time you're going to come back, because we get a lot of questions.
Yes,
and we can just be days on days whenever you have the time. Because
you're always welcome.
The viewers and followers ask for certain people to come back. They have certain questions. And it's like your niece Tiffany. They want to see that someone do that mermaid facial that she did the other day.
Yes.
And so with that, I want to tell you, thank you so much. And so, Brandon, what do
we always give out? You can't hear my
else
mom, but I do we give everybody a clap. You can't
okay, all right. And did you have anything else you want to say or ask us before we give you your round of applause?
I just want to say you two are wonderful.
Thank
you for what you're doing.
Yes,
your
ma'am.
Spirit and what you give, all that you give during these broadcasts it just fills me with joy, and I'm sure it does that for other folks as well. Thank you for being there.
You're welcome. That's what we're here for. That's why we're buckled up.
That clap.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Attorney Alma, aka AJ, thank you so much for coming on today. You have a wonderful day. And then please text me the photo you want to use for your cover.
She gave me the photo. She gave me the photo.
Oh, she did? Okay, never mind then. All right. I'll have it all taken care of.
He'll have it back to you in a few hours.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Right. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful today.